What if the future of LGBTQ rights wasn't shaped by the president, but by his son? It's a question that many people never saw coming. When President Donald Trump made waves in politics, LGBTQ rights became one of the most controversial areas of debate. From the transgender military ban to the rollbacks in healthcare protections, Trump's policies seemed to undermine the progress the LGBTQ community had fought so hard for. But here's the twist. While his presidency was full of contradictions, what if the key to changing the future of LGBTQ rights wasn't in his hands at all? What if it's in the hands of Barron Trump, his son? Barron Trump, the youngest member of the first family, has always kept a low profile, staying largely out of the public eye while his father was at the center of every political storm. But what if, after all these years of watching his father navigate the political battlefield, Barron decides to take a stand on the one issue that defined a generation, LGBTQ rights? Under Donald Trump's presidency, the LGBTQ community was caught in a whirlwind. On one hand, Trump occasionally made statements claiming to support LGBTQ rights, yet his administration relentlessly rolled back protections. The reality was that LGBTQ Americans faced an uphill battle during Trump's time in office. But amidst this chaos, Barron, who spent his teenage years in the spotlight, has managed to stay largely under the radar. His political beliefs, his stance on LGBTQ rights, no one really knows. But that's exactly what makes the question so intriguing. Could Barron Trump, in his formative years, emerge as an unlikely ally in the fight for LGBTQ rights? Could he rise above the controversies surrounding his father and champion the cause that so many fought for during the Trump era? Imagine Barron standing in stark contrast to the political legacy of his father, offering hope and support where many thought there was none. Let's rewind for a moment. When Donald Trump first ran for president, LGBTQ Americans were bracing for a presidency that could take the country backward. And to many, Trump's presidency seemed to validate their fears. There were policy changes that stripped away protections for transgender individuals, pushed for restrictions on military service, and removed the rights of LGBTQ individuals to be protected in healthcare. But the real question remains, did Barron share his father's views? Or would he chart a different course entirely? Barron Trump grew up in the eye of a political storm. His father's policies and public rhetoric dominated headlines, and Barron was often seen as the quiet son who stayed out of the fray. But here's the twist. Despite his silence, Barron's generation is known for being more open-minded and accepting of LGBTQ rights. Could Barron, in this moment of political reckoning, step forward and redefine what it means to be part of the Trump family? Here's the shocking part. Barron may hold the key to healing the divisions of the past. It's not the fiery debates between right and left, the protests, or the presidential policies that will push LGBT rights forward. It could be Barron's fresh perspective. The son of the former president might just have the opportunity to prove that a new era of leadership, one of compassion and understanding, can rise from even the most unlikely places. For a moment, imagine Barron stepping out of the shadow of his father and speaking out on behalf of LGBTQ rights. Think about the seismic shift it would cause, not just in his family, but in the entire political landscape. Could Barron Trump, growing up in a family that symbolized political conflict, be the unexpected face of change in a world where division has reigned? Now let's take it one step further. If Barron did decide to break free from his father's legacy, what would that look like? What if, rather than following in his father's footsteps, Barron decided to be a voice for those who feel unseen and unheard? What if he were to speak out on LGBTQ issues, advocating for policies that protect and embrace the LGBTQ community? The shockwaves would be felt across the nation, as people would see Barron not as the son of a divisive president, but as a man with his own ideas about compassion and equality. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Let's say Barron took action, starting initiatives to build bridges between communities that have long been at odds. What if he created platforms for LGBTQ youth to speak, be heard, and connect? What if, instead of inheriting his father's controversies, Barron used his position to unite people through understanding and dialogue? We've seen younger generations, especially Generation Z, become outspoken allies to the LGBTQ plus community. They're challenging old beliefs, questioning long-held norms, and standing up for equal rights in ways previous generations have not. Barron Trump could be part of this cultural shift, an influential figure, at the intersection of the past and the future. He could either continue to be the quiet son, living in his father's shadow, or he could step forward as an advocate for change. But what's truly at stake here is bigger than just Barron's personal beliefs. It's about whether